HorizonTV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a new month, it's a new week in the Islamic calendar, and also the last Friday in the month of June 2025. A very good morning to you and welcome to another episode of the Muslim Insight Show. My name is Zamzam Ahmed and my sign language interpreter is Ilhan Noor. So today we are going to talk about men's mental health. We are going to understand all about men's mental health, what it means by men's mental health, and as well as the common challenges or the common mental health challenges that are faced by men. And with that, I am joined by Miss Caroline Boyer, who is a counseling psychologist and will help me or help us understand the topic men's mental health awareness. Hi, Caroline.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Karibu sana Horizon. How are you this morning?
Asante, I'm very fine.
Wow,
Fine,
that is really amazing. It's really an honor having you here today. So we are going to talk about men's mental health awareness or men's mental health. So basically, I want us to first understand generally what is mental health.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. I am here as not as a man, but one who interacts with men. Mm-hmm. I have a father, I have brothers, I have a husband, mm-hmm. and I also interact with sons, boys, and men generally. Mm-hmm. And is the reason I am here to talk about men's mental wellness. Just briefly, June is a month that has been recognized to be as Men's Mental Wellness Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And there has been a lot of talks about men's mental wellness. But just shortly to share that it's about the emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Mm-hmm. And it affects how we think, we feel, and how we act. Mm-hmm. It also helps us to determine how we handle stress, relate, and even how we make healthy choices. For example, there's a study, probably if you allow me to share, about World Health Organization that shares with us globally that millions of men grapple with mental health disorders, significantly impacting individual families and communities. And according to World Health Organization, depression currently affects over 264 million people, with men being less likely to seek assistance due to societal norms and stigma. So that means probably it's not even 264, mm-hmm. because not all of them even talk about it, mm-hmm. right? And according to WHO, suicide is a leading cause of death among Kenyan men aged between 15 and 29, and stigma surrounds mental health often prevents men from seeking help. And the same research shares that women mostly talk about suicide, okay. but majority of the ones who die by suicide are men. So
women talk about suicide.
Yes.
But most of the people who commit suicide are men.
Yes.
So other than the key aspects about the WHO, mm-hmm. the research, mm-hmm. probably I believe there are some other key aspects about men's mental health.
Yes, yes. Even in my finding, let me just share with you a research that was done by Priori Private Health, mm-hmm. and they did a research on about 1,000 men, and some of the questions that they asked, some of the questions that were asked for us to get this finding was, what are the biggest causes of pressure in your life? Mm-hmm. What areas of your life does your mental health impact upon? Who do you talk to about your mental health? Why would you not talk about your mental health? Would you talk to a professional about your mental health? And just briefly what they found, The biggest causes of mental health issues in men's life are work pressure, that's about 32% of them shared. Then there was financial issue, 31% shared. Then their health, 23% shared. And 40% of the men that polled said it would take thoughts of suicide and self-harm to compel them to seek professional help. Okay. How sad that it would take self-harm or suicide for them to share. That is how difficult it is for men to share their mental issues. 40% of them says, I've never spoken to anyone about their mental health. 29% are too embarrassed to speak about it. 20% say there is a negative stigma on the issue. And 77% of the ones that polled have suffered with symptoms of negative mental health. Remember, these are just those who mention. How about those who are still shying away from mentioning? Right?
Okay. When we talk about men being most likely to commit suicide by more than women, probably we can get the gender gap in mental health issue. The difference between men's mental health and women's mental health.
You know, generally, women talk more easily and frequently about their issues. Okay. And probably it is because of the stigma that is around men and their mental health. And that will even take me quickly to share with you the myths that are around this to answer what you asked. Okay. One of the myths says, real men don't ask for help. Meaning asking for help is not manly. So compared to women, women easily talk. They don't even have to necessarily know you for them to share their issues. But men, because of what the society has said, they feel that it is not man enough to share their issues. Another myth shares that men don't have any coping strategies. Okay. So when they are having their issues, it alleges that men lack the coping strategies, that they are emotional loners without any means to support their mental health of their own. Okay. And I'm wondering if that is really true. One of the other myths shares that only women experience eating disorders. But we also have men who experience eating disorders. We have seen, especially with the growing boy child, and they also go to either eating too much or, you know, doing a lot of exercises to gain some muscle because there's some narrative around you being having lots of muscles, you know. And so there are those who also starve themselves, just the same way women would starve themselves to attain some certain figure. Then another myth shares that only weak people commit suicide. And it is believed that women are the weaker vessel and they are the ones who commit suicide. But now we have just seen from the research that a bigger percentage of people who end up committing suicide are the men, right? And there's this other myth that shares a stiff drink fixes it. So men believe that when they are having their issues, that they would just drink off your issue. But what normally comes after drinking off your issue? You end up having the maladaptive behavior of now getting addicted to the drink, to whatever the substance you're abusing. And that will also end up bringing issues to do with stress, anxiety, and reckless behaviors at the end of the day. There's also having a life partner will solve my problems, that they believe that having a life partner will solve their problems. Which it would be nice, yes, to have a life partner that you love. But sometimes, if you're marrying for the wrong reason, you may end up getting even stressed and depressed because you married for the wrong reason, because you thought having a life partner will help you sort out your issues. That means you're not facing your issues. You're not boldly facing your issues. This means they are still running away from facing their issues, from talking about their issues, because it has been said that men don't need to talk. And it has been said that talking is cheap. You suffer in silence, that men should keep their feelings to themselves.
Okay. Now when we talk about men should keep their feelings to themselves, I believe we are all human beings. And it's a fact here that, and also according to the research that you've told us, that most women think about committing suicide. Their thoughts are just there. But in action, we can see that men are the ones are more likely to commit suicide compared to women. And you've mentioned about some few things like the financial issues. A man will tend to face financial crisis, but again will look for work and then sort out his issues. Probably, what are the most common challenges or the most common mental health challenges that are being faced by men, other than the financial crisis?
Okay. Just to share with you a little bit of the first part of that question, the reasons as to why men end up being the bigger percentage that commit suicide is because women talk freely about their issues. So probably before you know it, I have shared with you and you will talk to me, or you will either refer me to a professional to go and help me deal with my issues. But because men tend to keep to themselves, they end up committing suicide because they have not gotten solutions towards the issues that they are going through. So some of the challenges that they go through is the workplace. There's a lot of pressure, and as you have just rightfully said, they are the breadwinners. They are expected to provide for the family. Everything is on them. School fee, rent, basic needs. Yet they are still human beings that need to take care of themselves. They hardly have anything for themselves to take care of themselves. And probably, as we talked about when we were mentioning that maybe I get a partner to fix it, maybe that partner is also not giving him ample time or doesn't tend to understand where the money is coming from, and so brings lots of pressure. So they are under pressure to provide. They are under pressure to match their peers. They are under pressure to impress, you know, and that causes a lot of challenges in their life, amongst many other things that we would share.
Let me cut you short. Maybe you can pause from there. My dear viewer, we have another guest, and it's good that we have gender balanced, because we're talking about men's mental health. We get someone who is a man to explain to us all about men's mental health, and we have Hassan Ahmed Odawa, who is a mentor. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, it's really amazing to have you also here with us in studio. So we are talking about men's mental health. And before we even continue, I would like probably you, Hassan Odawa, I believe as a man, you've interacted or maybe you've experienced this kind of issues, the mental health issues, and that's why you tend to become a mentor to support the rest. So probably what are these, or maybe are there any mental health issues that you've encountered?
Yeah, there is. At a certain moment, mental health is a very challenging thing that you find sometimes one of the signs you feel to be helpless as a man. Sometimes maybe you feel like you are getting angry. Mostly you get angry when certain things happen, because at a certain moment you find that we as men we find it not that convenient to express it out, because we fear that whenever I speak it out, I will be judged. You see, so that's why men tend to keep it, and they say, okay, the society has said that we as men, we should be strong. So when I express myself out there, people will start judging me, saying I'm weak. But me, what I can tell any man out there, it's always good you express yourself. Expressing yourself whenever you feel low or you feel overwhelmed does not mean that you are weak. Yeah, it simply gives you a way to find or a way to solve your problems when you share, because it is said a problem solved, a problem shared is a half solved.
Yeah.
So that's why I encourage men to talk about their mental health. Yeah.
And why do men suffer in silence?
Men do suffer in silence because of the fear of being judged.
Okay.
Yeah, because I might feel to tell you something, but on another side, I also feel not to tell you because I feel that whenever I tell you my problem, tomorrow or any other time, you are going to judge me the same problems that I told you.
Or you fear it will be on the news. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what usually happens.
Okay.
That's why they suffer in silence. No.
Okay, and let me come to you, Miss Caroline. As the counseling psychologist, we believe that according to how Hassan is telling us, that men tend not to speak because they fear being judged, they fear being overlooked. So we can look at why is men's mental health so overlooked?
Probably just to also mention a little bit from what Hassan has said, that the society has made men feel that speaking about their problem is a sign of weakness. And he has also mentioned something to do with the fear of saying or sharing, because probably it will end up becoming a public issue, or he will end up hearing his problem elsewhere with other people. Just to share a little bit on that is, where and who are you talking to?
Okay.
The professionals have a contract. They will keep confidentiality. So probably before you share out there, ask yourself, who are you sharing it with?
Yeah.
Because if you share it with any other person, maybe the information is overwhelming. They don't know what to do with that information, and they would want to share it with others to offload their systems. But for the professional, they have a way of supervision. They have a way of debriefing. They have a way of handling the information you give them because they have the skills. They have a way of listening to you non-judgmentally. They will not judge you, you know. They have a way of listening to you with lots of objectivity. Okay? So, going back to your question, men's issues are overlooked because probably even these people who are overlooking men's issues, they're equally men. And what have they been taught as they are growing up? What is their background? They overlook because they probably also believe that men should man up. They should not talk about their issues. It is cheap to share your issues. It is, you're being weak. When you're crying, they're asking you, why are you crying like a baby? Why are you talking too much like a woman? But I'm asking myself a question. As you are growing up, even my colleague here, son, as you're growing up, you fell down, you got hurt. When you got hurt, what happened?
You tend to cry.
You tend to cry. So what happens along the day, along the way, along the years, you know? What changes? If you, when you are a small boy, you are human. You felt pain. You cried for attention, just like any other child would cry for attention. But as you're growing up, what happens in your life that now makes you not want to cry? What changes? Are you now not a human being because you're a man? Those are things that we need to challenge. So I'm saying, in short, that probably the ones that are ignoring men's issues are also coming from that particular background of men should not cry, men have no feelings, men should not share, and the society told them it is a sign of weakness to talk about your issues. And I'm here to say vulnerability is not weakness. Let us share so that the man in my life can be heard, so that the man in my life do not bottle up issues, because when they bottle up issues, then what happens at the end of the day? Now you end up getting into depression, anxiety, and this maladaptive behavior, recklessness, and the likes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me come to you, Hassan. They normally say experience is the best teacher. A person who's experienced can tell you more about what he has gone through. Probably, Do I really need to be in someone's shoe in order for me to understand the pain this person is really going through?
No, it's not really exactly you need to be in his shoe, but as a normal human being, you should feel that sense of talking to a person, you know. Somebody at a certain moment you can find somebody just seated somewhere, and the way you look at him or her, you will see like this person I think is not okay, according to the facial expression, you know. So approaching him and asking him even how are you feeling, such things encourages somebody. So maybe you meet a strange person somewhere, and then the way you saw his facial expression, the way he was looking, and then you just say, hi, how are you? You know, saying that, hi, how are you feeling? He might feel to talk to you. And then he start expressing himself, because people sometimes they feel like safe talking to a strange person who they don't know.
Okay.
So you find that the moment you engage with this person, he starts sharing. If you have that kind heart, it's not a must you be in his shoe, but you can help. Okay, you say, I know this person, I think he can help you. Yeah.
So it's all a matter of kindness.
It's a matter of kindness.
Okay.
You know.
So, okay, there is this fear being instilled in people, not only in men, to everybody, that the person, maybe the story, my story, if I share with someone, then they fear that their story will go public. And you've mentioned that it's depend. It really matters to choose where and who to talk to. You are a counseling psychologist. You are a mentor. Probably, let me start with you, Caroline. How many people have come to you, and especially men, to seek help, to seek mental help?
I wouldn't give a particular number as per se. There are many.
Okay.
And probably that is what even gave me confidence to sit here and talk about many issues, because I have them at home. They are my brothers, they are my siblings, they are my parents, they are my friends, and they are my clients.
Okay.
So a lot of them have come because at least the stigma is being broken. There's a lot of awareness, like a whole of the month of June has been set up aside for men's mental issue, and that means many men are getting to hear this, are getting to get encouraged to come in and speak out. And even today in the studio, I believe a lot of them are listening to us. A lot of them are watching, and they're getting encouraged that it is important to come out and speak. So there are many. There are many.
Okay, June has been set as the month for men's mental health. Is it being utilized in the way that is supposed to be utilized?
Yes, this is a sure example of it being utilized.
Other than this one?
Yes, yes. There are so many other sensitization programs, and there are so many institutions that have put up men's mental wellness programs. Even in churches, there are so many programs being aired and shared. And so I want to say, yes, the month is being utilized in the right way.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Maybe I hear from you, Hassan, how many people, or probably give us an estimation of the people who've come to seek help from you?
At the moment, I can say there are like more than 20. Mostly these are youths. You find that at a certain moment, these youths, the main problem that they have is they lack somebody who they can talk to. Because even in the family, whenever he wants to share something, the family tends to behave in a certain way that this guy feels like these people, they'll just see me as a normal person, and they say those are my problems, so why don't I find somebody else? But one thing amazing with my fellow youths or my fellow brothers is that the more they find that person that they can engage with freely, they tend to change the behavior that they used to have. I have like few colleagues of mine. I work with them. Some were so much influenced into the drugs, but you know, once I met this guy, and he just approached me, told me, I've seen you and I feel like I should talk to you about something. So, but don't judge me.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing that you always tell me, don't judge me.
You listen, but you don't judge.
I won't judge you.
Okay.
I'll listen and give you appropriate solution where I can.
Okay.
Yeah, and if more assistance is required, I'll find somebody somebody to help you. So, you find that this youth, like the ones that I have engaged with, so far I can say they are good, and they are naturally doing better, more than how they used to be. Even those who are not working nowadays, they are working because of that encouragement, and they usually call me. They tell me, Hassan, how are you? Can I meet you? I have something to share, and then I tell them it's okay. When? Because during the weekdays I find to be busy most of the time. So I tell them mostly we can meet on Sunday. Yeah, and we share 1-2, and then if this person feels free, he feels safe with you. Yeah, and that's what we should do to even to our brothers out there. We have brothers, cousins who need somebody to talk to them. But if we do judge them with whatever they're telling us, they won't safe to talk to us. And they find a way to dodge that into other things, you see. But we should be a platform. If you have a small brother, encourage him, talk to him about mental health, men's mental health, how to be safe, how to take care of himself. Safety, self-safety matters. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I think, okay.
I could add something small on that. The reason as to why maybe it is downplayed, just to add on to what I shared, that the background, that the ones who are downplaying their background, where they're coming from, according to that, the same research that I just shared with you, that was done by the Priori Medical Health, and then some of the reasons that the men gave for probably either not talking or not coming out, one of the things, 40% of them said, I have learned to deal with it. 36% said, I don't wish to be a burden to anyone. 29% shared that I'm too embarrassed. Then 20% shared there's negative stigma around this type of thing, that is men's mental health. We're just talking about it. 17% shared, I don't want to admit I need support. Okay. And then 16% said, I don't want to appear weak. And 14% shared, I have no one to talk to. Just to emphasize actually what Hassan is saying, like they want to come and they're saying, please don't share it, or don't judge me, or it's because of that background. They're feeling embarrassed, or they have been made to see that sharing is an embarrassing thing. It's a weak thing. It is you needed to have known how to deal with it as a man, you know. And so when we have that kind of background, probably even the ones dealing with men's mental issues would not want to bring it to the public because they are coming from that background. But I'm just here, and we are all here to say that vulnerability is not weakness. And sharing means that you are courageous. And we are here to encourage all of us, especially the men, that come out and share it in a space that is non-judgmental. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think we are going to take a short break, but we'll be back with more on the coping mechanism, and as well as the warning signs of that a man may be struggling with his mental health. Therefore, stay tuned.
verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
Kitabu chenye uongofu kilichoteremshwa kwa mpangilio maalum.
Sura ikiitwa Madania inamaanisha iliteremshwa Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam alipokuwa kwa Madina.
Kila sura imepewa jina rasmi na sababu zake za kimsingi.
Inaitwa Suratun Nisa'il Kubra, sura ya wanawake kubwa.
Fahamu sababu za kuteremshwa Qur'an na matukio ya kipekee katika utaratibu huu.
Asema Mwenyezi Mungu wa Nuha, nakumbukeni kisa cha Nuh tulipomlingania kabla, tukamjibu yale mambo aliyoyaomba, tukawa ni mwenye kumwokoa yeye na ahli yake.
Ungana na Profesa Muhammad Salim Badamana katika malengo ya Qur'an kila siku ya Jumapili saa 11 kamili jioni katika Horizon TV.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان. انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam.
Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu aliyemfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
Thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik.
Ungana na mashekhi wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it at Horizon TV. This is the second segment of the Muslim Insight Show, and our topic of discussion is men's mental health. And we've looked at the several or a few of the common challenges, the mental health challenges that men face, as well as the myths and misconception about men's mental health. Why is men's mental health so overlooked and so on? Now in this segment we are going to look at the warning signs, the coping mechanism, who is a real man, and also is mental health all about treatment? Miss Caroline, maybe I start with you. Give us the warning signs that a man is facing that will show that a man is really going through mental health issue.
Okay, thank you so much. We look at this against what a normal human being is required to be doing.
Okay.
And normally I am expected to wake up, prepare myself. If I'm going to work, go to work, be productive, come back home, eat, interact with my family, with my friends, you know, and sleep. But if I am not able to do all this, then probably there's a problem. And that brings me to answering your question. If there's lack of sleep,
okay,
or the opposite, sleeping too much, right? If there's loss of appetite, loss of appetite for everything, for food,
okay,
for social life, things that you used to love doing, your hobbies, and for a man who is married, probably has no interest in intimacy, you know, then those are telltale signs. If a man gets angry all the time, anger is an expression of emotion, which is normal. You're expressing your feelings. But when it is too much all the time, then there's a problem. Aggression, recklessness. For example, you find someone engaging either reckless driving, they feel like overspeeding or knocking someone or something along the way, you know, there is definitely something going wrong. Or you find someone in the reckless behavior wanting to have 1,000,001 sex partners, you know. That means they don't even care about themselves. That means there's a problem. They are struggling with something. Feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And when you're feeling helpless and hopeless, you don't even take care of yourself. Not even being able to go to the bathroom, to bathe, basic things, you know. Not even waking up from your bed. Not even being able to go to work. And if it is a student, there's a decrease in their academic, you know. When it comes to, for example, like I said, loss of interest, withdrawn. You don't socialize with friends. You don't attend to your workspace. You miss your work. You wake up in the morning, you don't even go to work. You're being looked for. What's going on? What's happening? Hassan, we are not seeing you, you know. When you see such things, just know there's a problem. When someone gets into reckless drinking, or now they tend to abuse drug and substance, then there's a problem.
Okay.
It's likely that they are hiding behind the drug they are taking, behind the alcohol they are taking. There's something that is going on in their life, just to mention a few.
Okay.
Yes.
Hassan, probably you say that you went through something and that's why you chose to become a mentor. And I say experience is the best teacher. So, as a man, as a youth, what really triggered you? What really, or what challenges did you face?
Okay, so as a growing up young man, there are a lot of things that we face in life. One, it can be unemployment, which usually makes someone to feel like the society does not appreciate us. More so if you're educated, you know, you have the certificates, and you know very well you have whatever you studied, you are good in it. And then when you start looking for employment opportunities, like waking up every day, going to the offices, or going to the fields, trying to find something to do, it sometimes becomes very challenging. Another thing also, it depends with the types of friends that you are in. So most, you find that if you don't have a good company of friends, now these things, you will be affected by certain things, like the peer pressure. And you know, peer pressure, it will just lead you direct to mental health, because whatever you are going to do, whatever you are doing with your friends, they are out there, they're affecting you either in one way or the other. It can be psychologically, mentally, more so mentally, because you do these things, and when you are alone, when you don't have these friends of yours, or when you don't even have the money, like let's say of the substance abuse, you find that somebody who smokes bang, or the ones who chew mirror, you find that person, if he does not chew, and then he doesn't feel good, so it tends to like, how should I find this? How should I find money to buy the mirror so that I can chew? So when somebody like this, even eating becomes a problem, because he tends to chew first before eating. So that already is affecting him. Yeah, another thing that also affects us, or maybe I can say affected me, is support. You know, support from the family. So nowadays, even we prefer having a strange person being your family than your initial family. Because, you know, once you approach somebody who you don't know, and you have created that relationship, like maybe, let me say me, to me, the things that I do, like I'm a humanitarian. So my friends who we do with those humanitarian activities, they have encouraged me, and they have given me that vision that help is needed everywhere, and kindness is also needed everywhere. You see? So that's when I started engaging these activities, like the mental health department and the humanitarian activity. I came to find that a lot of people, more so the youths, they need help. Now, to my side, I had one of my friend, he was a teacher, so I used to talk to him, like sometimes even I don't sleep in our house. I just, when I feel low, I just go to his place, we talk stuffs, and then he's like, okay, you can sleep here. And then after, in the morning, after we have talked during the night, he has shared with me experiences as a teacher. Now I find that when I wake up in the morning, I feel good. So that was my coping mechanism. Then after that, I started giving myself that encouragement that everything we are going through is a process of life. But once we know how to tackle them, these issues, like the difficulties we are going through, we will succeed. So from there, I started mentoring my fellow youths, because I have identified the problem. I know how I can find solution. Also, I engaged with several psychologists. I even went to the field doing psychology, just to find a way that I can bring solution to my fellow youths. So from there, I said, okay, since youths don't have somebody to talk to them, but me as their fellow youth, if I can talk to them and share the experiences, give them some of the ways that they can find solution, who to approach, when to approach, and when do you approach a certain person? How are you feeling for you to approach that person, you see? So there are those things that you find. Like I do tell them, if you find that you are a good footballer, you are a good player, and at a certain moment you don't feel like playing anymore, then you certainly have a problem, and you need somebody to talk to.
Sikuzeeka. You know, sometimes people say that there are some few things that when you start doing it, they say unazeeka. Like for example, you used to play football, you stop playing, that's a sign of getting old.
Do you know one thing?
You start watching news, that's a sign of getting old.
Do you know one thing? One thing with talent, talent does not get old in you. Even if you are old, you still like, because you can even see most of the fans, you see old men out there, old women, they are still supporting their team because they had that talent of being, I was a footballer. So anytime they feel like, I'm really feeling like supporting. But whenever you feel like you are good in this thing, but you don't feel like doing it, then you have a problem. You need to find a solution. And finding a solution, you need to talk to somebody you can trust. And if there is somebody who you don't trust, you can talk to a stranger. Yeah.
Okay, Miss Caroline, Hassan said that his coping mechanism when he was going through a lot of difficulties, the mental health issues, he went to a friend's place. When things get out of hand, he goes to a friend's house, they chat all night, and then in the morning he wakes up fresh. As per your opinion, other than his idea or his coping mechanism, I believe there are other coping mechanisms that a man can get. You can tell us the coping mechanisms.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hassan, for sharing that. And that, I believe, helped Hassan to normalize his issues. When you share whatever it is you're going through with a friend, with a professional, or when you have support groups, when you share with your peers, you realize that you are not the only one probably going through whatever issue you're going through. And I don't mean to belittle or minimize what you're going through. But then you change your perception. You know, initially when you're going through a problem, you feel like you're carrying the whole world. But when you're sharing it with your peers, you realize each one of them is holding a piece and portion of the world, helping you carry your load. So when you share this with with peers and others, it helps you to normalize your situation, and you go back home realizing that, well, it's not the world against me. There are other people also going through their own other issues, and they are managing, and you also, it helps you also to learn from them. You copy probably what they do if it works for you, or it just gives you a reassurance that it is something you can do. Now, as we talk about this, probably I bring the aspect of how do we help the men to cope with their issues at family front, even workplace. We need to love, affirm, validate. If a child comes to you crying, and a boy for that matter, let us learn. Now we are learning that even those boys are human beings. Don't shout at them telling them, stop crying like a baby, stop crying like a woman, you know. Validate their feelings. If they say, I fell, I am hurt, hear them. Give them a listening ear and feel with them, you know, and make them feel hurt, so that next time when they are hurt, they can still run to you and tell you, I am hurt. Because if you push them away, then they start bottling up issues. And before you know it, when we start as small children, by the time you're a grown-up, by the time you're Hassan's age, you have perfected the masterpiece of bottling up issues. And so it will be so hard for a grown-up to talk about their issues. So affirm them. Validate them, all right? Create conducive work environment. embrace all regardless of their background, their culture and beliefs and status, you know. As an employer, call for such moments where there are sensitizations, like now this month. Create awareness. Have professionals come to your organization to have a talk with the men, to give them a forum for them to vent. Like Hassan is saying, talk it out with a stranger. Bring that stranger to your organization so that Hassan can talk to that stranger for them to be able to pour out their issues. A problem shared is halfway solved, as Hassan shared and as we have always known. Create and facilitate support groups. Women, as we talked about earlier, we have chamas. So we go there, we talk about our issues, and I don't want to know what you're going to do with my issue, but as long as I have shared it and poured it out of my system, I go back home feeling light. But for the men, unfortunately, even when they meet, they talk about everything else apart from
what they're feeling.
What they are feeling, the mental issues. So they talk about football, blah, 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 everything else. And it is a way of actually running away from the issues that they go through. So create support groups and encourage. And let's encourage the boy child from childhood, as you had mentioned earlier. From childhood, so that they grow up knowing that sharing is caring. Sharing is not a sign of weakness, right? Encourage mental wellness, talk and feedback. So that I can gauge where I am. And as an individual, self-awareness, very important. When he realized that he needed to air his issues, to talk to someone, he became aware of himself. And that took him to a psychologist session, class, and now he's mentoring. He's working with others. And you cannot walk with someone down a road that you haven't walked. So awareness is key. Practice active listening. That's which now professionals do. We have been taught how to actively listen. And that is why I said, who do you talk to? Who do you tell your issues? Tell it to a professional, because we have the skills of being attentive and helping you to clarify your issues, and we reflect back whatever it is that has been mentioned. Enhance emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence comes with self-awareness, self-compassion, just learning how to relate with others, how to communicate, how to take feedback, how to experience others, and a lot more about emotional intelligence. And also cultivating emotional resilience. Practicing self-compassion. Imagine if someone comes to you with a problem. You'll be so kind to them, isn't it? You would want to listen to them, right? And you want to go out of your way to care for them or do something that will help them. But when you as an individual is going through this problem, many times we are so harsh to ourselves. We don't take care of ourselves the way I would have taken care of someone else. So it is called self-sabotage, right? So we need to be compassionate. Learn. If you don't know it, you learn. And when you come to such forums, now we get to learn, and that will take us back again to self-awareness. And finding healthy ways of outletting issues of stress. Instead of maladaptive behaviors of drinking and reckless behaviors, when you come to such fora and share with your peers, you get to learn that probably I could run into my hobbies, go back to my hobbies. If I love singing, if I love watching football, if I love playing piano, whatever it is you love doing, so that I don't end up abusing drugs, which will again take me to depression, to anxiety, to stress, to PTSD, and the likes. So let us learn and find out healthy ways of outletting the things that we go through. Then challenge negative thoughts. Many times, what I think, I feel, I become. You think about it, you start feeling like it, and you start behaving like it. Now, for example, if someone has told you you are not man enough.
Okay.
Is it true, Hassan, you're not man enough?
And that brings me to a question, by the way. Who's a real man?
Yes.
Talking about a real man, as per your opinion, who is a real man?
You know, that's an amazing question. And people do think like being a real man is having money, having all assets that you require. But that is not the real point. The real point here, being a real man, is identifying the problems that you have and finding somebody who can help you, seeking an appropriate help from an individual or from professionalized people, you know. That's being a real man. Yeah. Identifying the problems that you are facing and seeking help.
Okay.
That's being a real man. It doesn't care whether you have money, whether you have all those things, because all in all, whether you have all this money, you will still have some challenges to face. And you will still need somebody to talk to you. Or is it that somebody has money and he looks for an advisor to advise him on how to use the money? That meaning is that means that still he still needs help.
Okay.
Yeah. So being a real man is just a matter of identifying the problems that you have, seeking an appropriate help. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because most people say that rich people don't have problem, and when it comes to them, they say, don't say rich people don't have problem. Actually, it becomes tricky for them to manage them.
As we were growing up, there was a program called The Rich Also Cry. And in real sense, yes, they do cry. It's just that probably you don't get to meet them crying. Maybe they're crying behind closed doors. And we are here to share with them that come out. Cry in the public. It doesn't mean that you're less of a human being. It doesn't mean that you're not man enough when you're crying, because you're human. You're going through what everyone else is going through. When people are telling stories and something that makes you want to laugh, do the rich men not laugh? They do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably even loudest, right?
Okay.
And how come when it comes to crying, now they are not man enough, so they don't want to cry when they are feeling the pain?
Okay.
Now that brings us to that bit of challenging the thoughts. Does it mean that if you cry, you're not a man? You tell yourself, probably it is something that is being shared in the public, that men don't cry, men don't have feelings.
Okay.
But you have feelings. How did you, if you're a married man, how did you get to marry your spouse?
And,
you had feelings, right?
Yeah, because time is not on our side, probably you can give us your parting shot, Ms. Caroline, as the counseling psychologist.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was really timely to talk about men and mental health. And I believe that from this talk we are realizing men are human beings, and they are born of man and woman. They have blood just like the women do. They have feelings that's just like the women do. They go through things that the women also go through, or that the human beings go through. And it is important that when you have issues, share them. Come out. Vulnerability is not weakness. I keep repeating. Sharing your issues does not mean that you're a weak person. It means that when you share, you will be helped. But if you're quiet, you will not be helped. Imagine if you injure yourself and you want to keep to yourself, not seeing a doctor. What will happen? If it is a wound, probably it will get septic.
Yeah.
And before you know it, your limb will probably get amputated. Same too when you're having psychological issues and mental issues. Come out. Let us share. There are people, there are professionals. We are there ready to listen to you actively, and we will not judge you.
Okay.
We
Thank you
take
so
you
much.
as you are.
Okay. Thank you so much. Maybe not to leave you out, Hassan, as a man, your parting shot in few words.
Okay. What I'll say, thank you for this session, and my message out there to my fellow men, my fellow youths, is that you not taking care of your emotional feeling is the main cause to your mental health. Apart from that, we are all human beings, we have feelings, and let us ensure that we always seek help.
Okay.
Yeah, and also if you feel like you need somebody else to talk to, we have this counseling hub called Lighthouse Counseling Hub. You can check it on the social media. It's there. We'll find people to talk to, professional people to engage with. So always seek help. Identifying your problem makes you successful. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, guys. It was really an amazing session. And what I can get from this conversation is that vulnerability is not weakness, as well as a problem shared is halfway solved. Speak up, share your problem, and get a solution. Until next Friday, my name is Zamzam Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.